Ever wanted to drop a god into your game who's part rebel, part tech support and 100% done with the divine status quo? Meet Prometheus, Titan, fire thief extraordinaire, humanity's ride or die, and the original terms and conditions were ignored icon of myth. Hello all you wonderfully funky people, Funky Monkey here, and welcome to today's episode. TTRPGs, Pathfinder, Daggerheart, Dungeons and Dragons, Discworld, Homebrew Chaos, whatever you're running, one thing's always true. It's hard to make a god, or better said, a good one. You could use the defaults, or you could go mythic. And for that we turn to the original scriptwriters of celestial drama, the ancient Greeks, aka the epic gossip enthusiasts. Today's tale, Prometheus, the four-sighted forger of mortals, patron saint of bad decisions with good intentions, and the reason your players have fireballs. Let's wind the cosmic clock back to before Zeus was top god. Back to the ancient days when titans still ruled the playground. Among them, Prometheus, titan of forethought, fire and "oh no, what have I done" moments. Born to the titan Iapetus and the Oceanid Clymene, or Asia depending on which ancient poet you ask, Prometheus was part of the second-gen titan crew. He wasn't one of the big 12, but he definitely made his mark. His siblings? Well, a dramatic bunch. We have Atlas, the poor bastard who got stuck holding up the sky, Menoetius, blasted into oblivion by Zeus for having too much attitude, Epimetheus, afterthought incarnate and walking red flag of bad decisions, and then there's Prometheus himself, forethought, the clever one, the rebel, the trickster with a heart of gold and a knack for ticking off the wrong gods. Even before the Olympians rose, Prometheus stood out. Ancient sources, especially Hesiod, paint him as brilliant, tricky, and not afraid to challenge the divine status quo. Later authors like Aeschylus upped the stakes even more, calling him the son of Themis, goddess of law and justice, which kind of makes him the original activist god. He may not have had a dramatic childhood montage, but Prometheus grew up watching Cronus rule the cosmos with a stone fist and zero foresight. And unlike most titans, Prometheus wasn't a fan of brute force. He was already thinking ahead, plotting, weighing, calculating. And when the skies lit up with the war between titans and Olympians, Prometheus had to make a decision. Side with the old guard, or bet on the next generation. When the divine family drama hit God War levels, the Titanomachy kicked off, a 10-year cosmic slugfest between Team Cronus and Team Zeus. You'd think Prometheus, being a titan, would be all in with the old guard, but myth loves a good twist, and Prometheus, he zigged when the rest of them zagged. Now, Hesiod is suspiciously silent on Prometheus' role in the war. He name drops plenty of other titans, especially the ones who got chucked into Tartarus, but Prometheus, he didn't even make a cameo. That little omission is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It suggests he either stayed neutral or straight up avoided the war entirely. Meanwhile, his brother Menoetius got smacked by a thunderbolt and sent to the eternal timeout zone in Tartarus. But Prometheus, still roaming free, no divine handcuffs in sight. Later versions spell it out. Prometheus backed Zeus. According to Aeschylus, the drama king of Greek tragedy, Prometheus saw how this war was going to end. He warned the titans that brute force wasn't going to cut it. That strategy, foresight, cunning were the real game changers. They ignored him, so he flipped sides. He volunteered to help Zeus and claimed it was his advice that got Cronus and his crew booted into Tartarus. In his own bitter words, "It is by reason of my counsel that the gloomy abyss of Tartarus now hides ancient Cronus and his allies, and this is how Zeus repays me." So yeah, Prometheus was a strategist, the brain behind the brawn, and for a time he had Zeus's trust. Some myths even say he helped deliver Athena, cracking Zeus's skull open like a celestial piñata to let the goddess of wisdom leap out in full armor. Hephaestus usually gets the credit for this, but there are some myths that mention Prometheus performing this role. But, as we'll soon see, helping Zeus win the war didn't buy eternal brownie points, because Prometheus was about to make a choice that would put him on the gods' naughty list, like, forever. Sure, he's a titan, but Prometheus wasn't exactly hanging out with the cool kids on Mount Olympus. While most divine beings were busy flexing their cosmic egos, Prometheus had his eye on a different project. Us, mortals. In one classic take, he literally made us. Yep, humans, handcrafted by a titan. Apollodorus says Prometheus molded the first human out of clay, just mud, water, and a pinch of divine artistry. Ovid picks up the thread too, echoing the idea of mankind sculpted from earth and imbued with the likeness of the gods. In these stories, Prometheus doesn't just root for Team Mortal, he builds the team himself from scratch. The ultimate origin story. But even in the myths, where he's not our sculptor-in-chief, Prometheus is still our biggest fan, as Plato mentions in his works. The gods had created all living creatures and handed Prometheus and his walking disaster of a brother, Epimetheus, afterthought, the tasks of doling out traits. Fur, claws, wings, poison, the ability to be extra cute and breathe underwater, you name it, they gave it out. But Epimetheus was true to his name, Afterthought. And although he doled out everything like candy on Halloween, we were nothing but an afterthought to him. When it came to humans, we got nada. No feathers, no fangs, no fun. So, Prometheus, forethought, entered stage left, clutching the actual cheat codes. He stole fire, yes, you heard that right, fire, and the clever know-how of Athena and Hephaestus. Tools, tech, smart, survival, the ability to take cute cat pictures, and the ability to nuke ourselves into the Stone Age again. He gave it all to us naked apes. And according to Plato, Zeus himself later chipped in with a little bit of moral programming. He gave us aidos, respect, and dike, justice. So we could play nice and not immediately bludgeon each other over mammoth tusks. The message? Whether he's shaping us from the ground up or giving us divine upgrades, when the gods forgot to install the latest human patch, Prometheus always had our back. He's the mythic embodiment of that one player in your campaign who always picks support, even though they could have rolled a min-max power-built meat sack. Prometheus didn't just make humans, he made civilization possible. Being humanity's personal cheat code generator didn't stop at fire. In Prometheus Bound, Aeschylus hands the Titan the mic, and boy does he drop a mythic resume. Chained to a rock and mid-suffering, Prometheus doesn't whine, he brags, and rightfully so. Before he stepped in, humans were basically sleepwalking meatbags, like shapes in dreams, as they were described, stumbling around in the dark with no clue how anything worked. So what did Prometheus give us aside from fire? Oh, just civilization, nothing much. He gave us architecture and housing. He taught mortals how to build with wood and brick instead of living like dank goblins in caves. He gave us astronomy, taught people to watch the stars and count the seasons. Goodbye perpetual, is it harvest time yet? Confusion. He gave us math and writing, numbers and letters, tools to measure, track, and most importantly, remember. He gave us animal husbandry or animal domestication. From wild beasts to workhorses, Prometheus invented the fantasy equivalent of fast travel. He gave us seafaring. He put mortals on boats. Did they die a lot? Sure. But now the world got bigger. He gave us medicine, the knowledge of healing salves, helpful herbs, and the basic idea that illness might not be a punishment from angry sky daddies. He gave us divination, dreams, signs, omens. He gave humans tools to read fate without needing a full-blown prophecy addiction. He gave us metallurgy, dug up copper and iron, then taught people how to make weapons, tools, and that one NPC who's always covered in soot. See? He gave us all of it, made possible by fire. Fire wasn't just warmth, it was the engine of technology, of innovation, of ideas. Prometheus didn't just light a torch, he lit the path forward. That's why later generations saw him not just as a titan, but as a cultural hero. The hero of civilization, the rogue scholar, the divine whistleblower who looked at humanity's pitiful state and said, "Nah, I can fix this, hold my amphora." He didn't just give mortals the tools to survive, he gave them the tools to create. And in a TTRPG setting, that's the kind of ancient myth you build empires or rebellions around. But how did he do all of this, I hear you wonder? Well, after siding with Zeus in the Divine War, you think Prometheus might have earned a spot at the Olympian brunch table. Instead, he pulled off one of the greatest bait and switches scams in mythic history, and torched his relationship with the king of the gods in the process. All for us. The scene, Mekone. Gods and mortals are arguing over who gets what from sacrifices. You know, divine meat tax policy. Prometheus steps in, like the titan of catering logistics he is, and says, "Let me divide this sacrificed ox. Fair and square. Pinky promise." So he sliced the beast into piles. One has all the juicy, mouth-watering meat hidden inside the gross, unappetizing ox stomach, like an ancient time haggis, let's say. The other, made of just bare bones, glammed up with a shiny layer of fat. Then he presented both to Zeus and goes, "Choose whichever looks best, big guy." Zeus, being omniscient and petty, knows exactly what's up. But he picks the bone pile anyway because it looked better, and he just wanted to set a precedent, and to prove a point. And thus, the ritual was born. Humans could burn bones wrapped in fat to appease the gods, while secretly getting to chow down on all the good stuff. Classic divine loophole. Humans win dinner, gods get smoky bones. Prometheus won, Zeus salty. But gods hold grudges like dragons hoard gold. And Zeus, he wasn't just annoyed, he was eternally spiteful. He was humiliated by a titan. So, as his first move, he hit the mortals where it hurts. He stole fire. No more warmth, no more cooking, no more protection, just cold dinner and dark nights. It was divine level grounding. Prometheus, ever the rebel dad of humanity, wasn't having it. So he snuck up to Olympus, accounts vary, either ninja'd his way into Zeus's hearth or Hephaestus' workshop, lit a divine flame and smuggled it in a hollowed stalk of fennel. Yes, fennel. Apparently, that's the celery of rebellion, and the sign of freedom for ancient Greeks, because marathon is fennel in ancient Greek. So the Battle of Marathon was actually in the field of fennel. Anyway, I'm getting off track. And just like that, bam, humans had fire again. The lights flickered back on, bread got toasted, forged fire roared, and Zeus, absolutely freaking furious. The Titan had not only broken the rules, but made humanity independent. This wasn't just theft, it was heresy with a matchstick. That moment, the fire theft is the core crime of Prometheus's myth. It's the ultimate heist. One Titan, one torch, and one very pissed off Skydead. It's also the moment humanity left the divine nest and started building a world of their own, brick by flame-baked brick. But if you're wondering why it was so important that Zeus initially took fire away, it's because the gods gave humans fire. Humans were dependent on the fire from the gods. With Prometheus stealing fire and giving it to humans, they mastered it. They claimed it as their own. They were no longer dependent on the gods. So, Zeus lost a very powerful leverage against mortals. And in TTRPG terms, this is the origin point of mortal defiance, the beginning of civilization, the kind of myth that just begs for reinterpretation. Was Prometheus a rogue, warlock pact breaker, a celestial saboteur, or was he the first artificer? Whatever your take is, the fire is lit, and the game is on. So, Prometheus stole fire, humanity got a win, and Zeus, like always, got petty, but not loud, not lightning bolt hurling petty, but strategic petty, which is worse in most situations. The kind of petty that brews for a while and comes wrapped in ribbons. To punish not just Prometheus, but all of humanity, Zeus didn't just take something away like fire again. No, he took the other route. The weird one. He gave something. A gift. Gorgeous, enigmatic, catastrophic. Enter Pandora, or the All-Gifted. She wasn't born like mortals. She was forged. Hephaestus sculpted her from clay, sculpting the shape of a maiden with hands meant for needlework and eyes that could melt stone. Athena taught her art and grace. Aphrodite blessed her with beauty nor mortal or god could ignore. And Hermes, he gave her a silver tongue and just the right amount of guile. Every god tossed something into the mix, like a divine potluck, but for crafting doom in a dress. And this was the plan. Send Pandora as a gift to mortals. A divine decoy, a lovely curse with a box full of nightmares. Prometheus had warned his brother, Epimetheus, don't trust gifts from Zeus. Seriously, no mystery maiden, but Epimetheus, being the poster child for oops, saw Pandora and said, this seems fine, and again he lived up to his name, Afterthought. And with that, the trap was sprung. Pandora came with a jar, not a box, that's an interpretation of Renaissance painter. And in the jar, sealed, were every evil things the gods could cram into. Sickness, sorrow, despair, war, hunger, taxes most likely. No one's sure why she opened it. Curiosity, compulsion, fate, it doesn't really matter. She popped the lid and boom, instant apocalypse. Out flew humanity's first bad days and it hasn't stopped raining since. Except one thing remained inside. Hope. Elpis. Trapped beneath the lid just as it slammed shut. And that's the twist of the story. Zeus gave fire back in exchange for pain, but he also let humans keep hope. Maybe it was mercy. Maybe it was part of the curse actually. But mortals now lived with both the burden of suffering and the spark of belief that tomorrow might be better. Zeus didn't just slap Prometheus on the wrist. He made him a monument, a warning, a 24/7 cosmic billboard flashing, no one crosses the king of Olympus. First, the enforcers. Kratos, power, and Deea, force, dragged the titan to the edge of the known world. The wind swept savage peaks of the Caucasus mountains. There, Hephaestus, god of the forge, reluctantly hammered unbreakable chains through Prometheus's limbs, nailing him to a pillar of stone. Immortal, but helpless. And then came the eagle. Every day, the divine buzzard, by the way, in some cases, some say it's a vulture, but either way, it's a nasty work, swooped down and tore into Prometheus's liver. Blood, gore, screaming agony. The night would fall, and the liver would regrow. So the bird would do it again the next day, and the next, and the next, and the next, forever. Why the liver? Because to the ancient Greeks, it was the seat of emotion, vitality, and the essence of life. Zeus wasn't just punishing Prometheus physically, he was grinding down his soul. But here's the twist. Prometheus never broke. In Aeschylus, Prometheus is bound. The Titan spits defiance through clenched teeth. I saved mankind, he growls, and this is what I get. He never begs, he never repents. He even taunts Zeus from the rock, hinting that he knows a prophecy, one that could bring down the Thunder King himself. Even chained, Prometheus is still playing the long game. Eventually, after generations of suffering, Hercules enters the picture. On one of his many labors, the demigod spots the chained titan, raises his bow, and drops the eagle with a single shot. He shatters the chains and sets Prometheus free. But this wasn't a jailbreak, it was sanction. Zeus, ever the strategist, allowed Hercules to free Prometheus as part of the larger divine PR campaign. Glorify the hero, close the chapter, and prove that mercy eventually comes to those who endure. Prometheus' suffering is no side note, it's a central theme of mythic storytelling. He's the prototype of the rebel punished for defying tyranny. In TTRPGs, that's pure gold, a chained god as a forbidden oracle, a long-lost ally of mankind trapped beyond the world's edge, a divine rebel who knows the god's secret but speaks only in riddles from his prison. Whether you use him as a tragic NPC, a divine patron of forbidden magic, or a symbol of resistance in a world of capricious gods, Prometheus burns bright. Just don't offer him liver, he might not enjoy that. Turns out, getting off the rock wasn't as simple as snapping a few chains and high-fiving Hercules. In some versions, Zeus imposes terms. If Prometheus, being immortal, couldn't just walk free, another immortal had to take his place in the pit. Enter Chiron. And with this little teaser, if you enjoyed this myth-fueled madness, hit that subscribe button and make sure you join this growing funky community. Drop a like and show me that you enjoyed this video, and ring the bell so you don't miss out my next saga. Got a favorite messed up god story? Share it in the comments. And if you don't feel like sharing anything, just say hi. It will be greatly appreciated. Until next time, stay curious, stay funky, never stop creating, and remember, your mind and imagination are amazing, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Every world needs a little chaos, so make sure you bring some into yours. Until next time, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful, funky day. Cheers!